Before we start, a word of caution. Some of these names may be difficult to pronounce as they are written in Arabic script, so don't worry if you stumble with pronunciation. Feel free to use any name that sounds close enough. After all, this is how many people during that time would have pronounced them as well. The year was 636 CE. The air over the plains of Yarmouk was dry but tense. Two great empires were about to collide, the powerful Byzantine Empire and a rising Muslim force led by one of history's most brilliant military minds, Khalid ibn al-Waleed. The stakes were high, the odds were stacked against them, but a shadow hung over the Byzantine camp. They couldn't see it, but the Muslims could. The shadow of victory. This was not just another battle. This was a turning point, a moment that would shift the balance of power in the region forever. Our story begins not on a battlefield, but around a campfire. In the flickering light sat Sayyidina Ali bin Abi Talib radiyallahu anhu, cousin and son-in-law of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. He was on a critical mission to conquer Syria, a province that was a jewel in the Byzantine crown. His army was green, eager, but not ready for the giants of the Byzantine army. As the armies prepared to clash, a single figure stood out from the ranks of the Muslims, Khalid ibn al-Waleed, known as the Sword of God. But at that moment, he wasn't just a warrior, he was a strategist. And he was troubled. The Muslims were heavily outnumbered. Historical accounts suggest the Byzantine army was over 100,000 strong. The Muslim forces, as the evening deepened, Khalid gathered his commanders in the flickering light of the fire. "Brothers," he began, his voice echoing the quiet confidence that made him a legend. "We face a formidable foe. Numbers are on their side. Yet I see not just soldiers, I see brothers in arms. We're not here to shy away from a challenge, but to rise above it. Tomorrow will be a test, not of our faith, but of our strategy and brotherhood. Are we ready?" A chorus of voices filled the night, each voice echoing the same sentiment. "Ready, O Commander, ready!" Khalid nodded, a ghost of a smile playing on his lips. There was no grand feast that night, only a solemn meal of dates and bread under the vast star-studded sky. No boisterous laughter, only hushed prayers for guidance and strength. They slept not because they were tired, but because they needed rest for the dawn. The next morning, the sun rose over the battlefield like a witness to history. The Byzantines began their attack, confident in their numbers and training. Their shields were adorned with the double-headed eagle of their emperor, a symbol of power and dominance. Their armor gleamed like a forest of polished steel, and their spears were poised like a hedgehog ready to impale any intruder. Khalid watched the advance with keen eyes, noting every movement, every formation. He didn't flinch when the first volleys of arrows rained down, nor when the clash of steel echoed across the plain. Instead, he waited patiently, like a hunter who has stalked his prey for days, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. For 6 long days, the fighting continued. Every day, the Byzantines attacked, confident and strong. Every day, the Muslims held, defending not just their land, but their faith. It was exhausting, but not what Khalid expected. Where are the cavalry? He wondered, puzzled. Day after day, he saw infantry meet infantry, sword against shield, arrow against breastplate, but no cavalry charges, no flanking maneuvers, no attempt to exploit their numerical advantage. It was as if the Byzantines were hesitant, as if their confidence was waning. Khalid, however, was prepared for this. He had trained his cavalry to be patient, to be like a coiled snake, ready to strike at the right moment. Meanwhile, back in the Byzantine camp, confusion was growing. Why wasn't the Muslim army breaking under their attacks? Where were the panicked shouts, the cries of surrender? All they saw was a steadfast line of defense, a wall of shields and swords that absorbed their blows without crumbling. And then there were the Muslims' uncanny ability to regroup and launch counterattacks, each one more fierce than the last. It was as if they drew strength from their opponent's exhaustion. This was not what General Vahan had planned. He envisioned a swift victory, a decisive end to the Muslim incursion into Syria. But day after day, his plans were thwarted, his strategies neutralized. He was trapped in a nightmare of his own making, a nightmare he couldn't wake up from. Then came the seventh day. As the sun climbed higher in the sky, casting its relentless glare over the battlefield, Khalid made his move. The cavalry surged forward, not in a mad charge, but in a controlled wave, sweeping across the field, their speed matched by their discipline. This was the moment Khalid had been waiting for. He had studied the terrain, observed the enemy, and now he was acting. The Byzantine lines, already weakened by 6 days of fighting, could not withstand the sudden onslaught. The cavalry crashed into their flanks, turning defense into chaos. Shields were abandoned, swords broke, and the eagles on the Byzantine banners fell, crushed under the weight of steel and muscle. At the same time, Khalid sent out his 2nd Cavalry unit to cut off any retreat. They fanned out across the plain, forming a crescent around the struggling Byzantine troops. Any attempt to flee was met with the cold steel of a Muslim saber. Khalid had not just planned this battle, he had lived it, relived it in his mind countless times. And now it was unfolding exactly as he had foreseen. Amidst the carnage, General Vahan realized the trap he'd fallen into. He turned his horse and fled, hoping to rally his troops at the rear. But it was too late. Khalid had anticipated this move. A detachment of cavalry was already there, barring Vahan's path. Surrounded, Vahan fought like a cornered lion, but he was outnumbered, outmaneuvered, and eventually overwhelmed. The once proud general surrendered, his head bowed, his dreams of victory shattered. One by one, the Byzantine regiments fell, their banners torn, their colors scattered on the ground. Some troops tried to escape over the river, only to fall into deep ravines or be captured. By nightfall, the battle was over. The Muslims had won, not just through brute strength, but through discipline, leadership, and trust in Allah. As the dust settled over the plains of Yarmouk, a new reality emerged. The Byzantine Empire, shaken to its core, would never again be able to hold Syria within its grasp. The Muslim banner, emblazoned with the Shahada, the testimony of faith, now flew proudly over the fortress of Damascus. The Battle of Yarmouk wasn't just a military victory. It was a testament to the power of unity, strategy, and unwavering belief. It was a victory for the Muslims, yes, but more importantly, it was a victory for justice, for perseverance, and for those who dared to dream of a better world. So remember, brothers and sisters, when the odds are stacked against you, when the giants seem poised to crush you, stand firm, strategize, and believe in a higher purpose. You might just find yourself standing tall under the shadow of victory.